Hi, I'm Mark with SNAPON. Today I'd like to introduce one of SNAPON's newest tools, the AutoSplitter. AutoSplitter is a line of nut splitters that provide a fast and safe method for removing frozen nuts on studs up to 4 inches in diameter. The AutoSplitter is available in standard, angle head, double cutting, and double acting configurations, allowing you to work from more angles and in more applications than competing units. SNAPON even has square nut models available, which are perfect for railroad applications, and specially designed splitters which are ideal for galvanized guardrail nuts. Nut splitters are a faster and safer alternative to torch cutting nuts, and can even be calibrated to cut the nut without damaging bolt or stud threads. No flame also means no need for hot work permits, and no risk of damaging surrounding equipment. AutoSplitters are extremely durable, covered by a lifetime warranty, and because of our special metallurgy and unique geometry, chisels can be resharpened many times before they need replacing. Bill Washington will now demonstrate the use of the AutoSplitter.
The AutoSplitter comes to the customer in a red metal toolbox with a 25-ton cylinder, housing, chisel, spacers, and hex key drivers. First, select the spacer that corresponds to the nut size you want to cut. In this case, we're going to select this spacer, and this spacer is for 1 1/4 inch. Remove the protective sleeve from the cylinder. Unscrew the chisel holder from the cylinder. Place the spacer into the cup on the cylinder. You'll notice on the chisel holder that there's a place for the set screw on the side. We want to place the chisel into the chisel holder. You'll notice a slight detent on the shaft of the chisel holder. Place that into the chisel holder and tighten the set screw with the hex key driver. You want to make sure that when you tighten this, you do not tighten it so much that the chisel cannot turn. If you have to back off just a little bit, do that so that the chisel spins freely in the chisel holder. Then insert the chisel holder and turn the chisel holder down finger tight all the way. It's very important to turn it down all the way so that the threads are not holding the load. This must be flush with the base of the hole in the piston. And once you've turned this all the way down, then we're ready for the next step. Connect the hose to the hydraulic cylinder by pushing the nipple into the fitting and then screwing the collar onto the fitting. If the collar does not make up completely, you will not get hydraulic pressure to the cylinder. This is not completely made up. You have to turn it all the way until the collar is flush with the fitting on the outside here. That's completely made up. Connect the other end of the hose to the pump by pushing the nipple in and turning the collar on the threads on the outside. And again, make sure that the collar is made up completely and only hand tight. If it's not hand tight, you'll have trouble getting it loose. And that's completely made up. When working with pressurized hydraulic equipment, the minimum required personal protective equipment are safety glasses, leather palm gloves, and safety-toe shoes. Next, you'll extend the cylinder. You do this by closing the valve on the pump and then stroking the pump. Once the cylinder is raised, then we'll take the housing and screw the housing on. With this particular model, it doesn't matter which orientation you use to put the housing on. And then we're going to screw it down. All the way down until it stops. And then we're going to back it off one full turn. Next, you're going to place the housing with the chisel extended over the nut that you want to cut so that you can see if the calibration is correct. You'll see that the back is lined up with the back side of the nut and that the chisel in this case is pointing at the stud and into the stud. So we need to back this off just a little bit. Now we put it back on the stud, or on the nut actually, and you see that we're properly aligned to cut this nut. Once you have the housing adjusted where you want it, you're going to insert the hex key into the set screw and tighten that down snug, not extremely tight. Before we cut the nut, we want to lubricate either the chisel or the nut. So we're going to paint the tip of the chisel with the lubricant. To cut the nut, you place the housing over the nut with the back of the nut aligned on the housing, and then you'll advance the chisel by stroking the handle on the pump. And now we're going to cut the other side of the nut. The chisel usually will not go into the stud, but if it does, worst case, you're going to see that it does a small imprint in the threads there. That can be cleaned up with a die nut.
As you can see, the AutoSplitter provides a fast and safe method for removing corroded or otherwise difficult to remove nuts. These splitters can cut through even the hardest nuts, and there are configurations available for almost any application. For more information about Snap-on's AutoSplitters, contact your Snap-on representative today.